Well, this is a service announcement. I was getting ready to do the audio engineering, I guess, on this episode, and I sound like I'm in a teeny tiny tin can. So I do apologize in advance. I know that it sounds like I'm literally from outer space, but I'm hoping that that never happens again. So, Joey, if you're listening, I do apologize for any inconveniences I may have caused.
Joey is not impressed.
And enjoy the episode. Thanks.
Enjoy.
You know, like,
Hey,
just
traveling. What does that have to do?
if you don't want to go somewhere, you don't have to.
Just talk to your
If you
travel.
don't want to
Just
travel,
talk to your travel agent. They can't force you to go on that
if
plane.
you don't want to travel, you don't have to. Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to another episode of 30 Kind of Flirty.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Brittany. And it's apple picking season. We're in. It is. It's apple picking seasons as of yesterday.
It is. Well,
Isn't it? September?
Yeah.
Late
Usually
late
in
August.
September. Late
Are you
August,
going?
September. I'm going this weekend.
Ooh, what kind of apples are you going for?
I don't know what the different kinds of apples are. I like green ones.
Do you?
Yes.
I don't like them.
Not
Not that you asked.
I don't like apples in general, but I do like green apples. But whenever I see someone eating an apple, it always looks like it's really good, like that crunch. But then when I go and eat one, it's like, no, man, this isn't that good.
All I'm picking for is candy apples.
Well, do you remember last year we went and picked apples?
Yeah,
and
and I made an apple crisp.
I just gave you my bag of apples.
I know,
didn't
and
want
then I
them.
had like fucking 36 apples over here.
Yeah, and did you use them all?
No,
Why not?
because an apple crisp tastes like 6.
Well, I do love an apple crisp, though.
But
Yes, it is. Now we're into September.
Yep.
Fall is coming.
It's cuddling weather.
Best time of the year, cuffing weather.
Is that what it is? Cuffing?
Cuffing, mhm.
What does that mean? Isn't
Uh,
that like a hunting term?
I don't hunt, so I don't know. But, well, summer's all about having that summer fling, that light fun. And then when it gets cooler out, you want to find someone to really cozy down with, you cuff them. I mean, you could cuff them for more than one reason, I guess. But
Okay.
more so about, I think it's called cuffing. Now you're making me reevaluate it.
No,
Is
I
it?
think it's cuffing.
Yeah, okay.
I've heard you say that on more than one occasion.
But
Whether
who
it's
knows?
true or not, I
Who
don't
knows?
know.
Someone tell us. But
Somebody
yeah.
tell us on Instagram.
So Instagram, eh?
I just winked at Joey. He didn't pick up on the cue.
Oh, we are on Instagram. 30 Kind of Flirty Podcast.
Yeah.
So give us a follow.
Let us
give
know
us
if it's
a
called
like.
cuffing.
There's also a link in our bio that takes you to all of our other socials, the link tree. We're on Twitter. I don't know the Twitter handle though.
Kind of flirty.
Kind of flirty.
Yeah.
We don't know much about Twitter, but we will try to use it
I've
as
been
much
tweeting.
as possible. Okay. Don't know if anyone's seeing it.
I don't think I have any followers. 'Cause I don't.
And even though last week we made a joke about not being on Facebook,
Yeah,
we do have a Facebook page.
We do. I don't.
So just search 30 Kind of Flirty and it should come up. Give us a like, give us a follow. And yeah.
All that
I think
social
that's
media
all the fun stuff.
Yeah. And let us know if you're going apple picking.
Yeah.
Because the season's here.
The season's here for apple picking. I'm going this weekend with my besties, Raven and Nick. And we're going to, it's too warm probably to start dressing up in flannel, but we will still
We did that last year. We went apple picking.
We went mid-September.
Yeah,
No, it
but
was
we
still early
dressed
September.
up. Like, we had, like, cute little outfits on,
Yeah.
flannel.
It was warm.
And it was hot. There
I
was, like,
said, Jesus Christ, never again.
yeah, it was super hot.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
So if you're going apple picking this week, good luck.
yeah,
Good luck with yours.
thank you.
You'll
I'm
give me
looking
an
forward
update.
to it. So
Okay. So episode number 3 officially. What had happened was we were trying to figure out what to talk about, and I have a guilty pleasure of my own called 90 Day Fiancé.
yeah.
I don't like to tell people that because
You know what though? It's very popular.
I
Like
just
a lot
love
of
it.
people watch that show.
I've watched it for every season.
And I mean,
don't
I'm
know.
all about watching Real Housewives, Summer House, Below Deck, all the Bravo shows,
I
like
love
all
Below
that
Deck.
trashy reality stuff. Like I'm just here for it.
Yeah, so 90 Day Fiancé is my guilty pleasure. And it got me thinking about toxic relationships, toxic friendships specifically. Because there's, for all of my 90 Day Fiancé fans out there, there's a little ongoing thing with one of the girls named Darcy, who we love, Darcy Silva. She's dating somebody named Georgie, and her sister don't like him. None of her friends likes him. They don't trust him. And I got thinking to myself, like, do I have now that's like a toxic relationship that the friends aren't into, but then it got me thinking, like, have I been in any toxic friendships? Have I had any? And I thought it would be interesting to kind of unpack that.
And I think it's interesting too, friendships in general. I mean, I think there is a difference between friendships in your 20s or younger and friendships in your 30s. So we might be able to talk about that as well.
Yeah, because I think it changes, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think
Yeah.
certain things that I did in my 20s versus what I would do now and going forward, I think they change.
Yeah, big time. And I think most of us probably do experience toxic friendships. And it's one of those things, kind of like with relationships, where you can be in a friendship that is toxic and not even realize it.
Oh, for sure.
And there are signs of a toxic friendship. So what do you think some of those signs would be?
Oh, I think for sure, like gaslighting. So gaslighting, for those of you who don't know, is when you'll feel something and somebody will kind of turn it around on you and then essentially make you feel crazy. So a good example of that would be, if you have plans to go out for dinner and they don't show up, and then you react to that being like, it would have been really helpful to have like a text message saying you weren't going to make it instead of standing me up tonight at the restaurant. And then they say something like, oh my gosh, you're so dramatic, like you always take things to heart and make it all about you, like you haven't even asked me why I was late or why I couldn't show up. So they automatically like accuse you of being the problem,
making you feel guilty.
Yeah,
like it's
so
your
that's
fault.
gaslighting. I think that's a huge thing in
Yeah.
relationships and in friendships. I think any kind of emotional abuse, so even something so subtle as in like, are you sure you're going to wear that? Or poking fun at somebody, or saying things like, I mean, I'm going to use this as an example. I have a dress that Joey doesn't like.
Oh. Is it your mom dress?
Yeah, my mom dress. I don't think that I know how Joey means it when he says it to me. And that's
what all the victims say.
But like, I think that's a good point, right? It's like, if you have a friendship that you can banter and stuff, it's different from like somebody constantly putting you down. So if they're making fun of like a clothing item, that would be some form of emotional abuse. And then I think using your friend for things would be a form of toxic relationships or toxic friendships.
And I think too, and we can get into a lot of these in more detail and maybe some examples of what we've been through, but also like not being supported. Like sometimes you'll have friendships where that your friend is all about talking about themselves, what they're going through. And then when you try to speak to them about something, they just brush it off. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah, or not asking you about like what's going on in your life.
Yeah, I think
that's a huge thing. I have a girl friend. She's a girlfriend that I know, and every time I talk to her, we always have like these really deep conversations. But they're usually 45 minutes and all about her. And I'm so happy to sit there and talk to her about it and to like ask her questions and like let her vent to me. But like once in a while, it'd be nice for her to just be like, "Hey, like what's up with you?" And then when I tell her, she's not like on Instagram or something. I don't hold it against her because I know she has a lot on her plate. But I think that is for sure a form. And it's something that I make excuses for. Maybe that's another form of toxic friendships, is when you make excuses for the person, being like, no, it's acceptable because of this. And when it probably isn't. So that's interesting. Do you have any experience with
a toxic friendship?
Yeah. Like in your 20s?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so I do have a story. When speaking about the signs of a toxic friendship, a big one is just their friendship gives you stress, right? It's not serving you. And I had a friend, and we met in university, and she was a sweetheart, one of the nicest people
Like clicked right away?
I've ever met. Yeah, we clicked right away. And then, of course, after university, people move away, so you drift apart. And then a couple years later, because of certain circumstances, we reconnected again. And that was fine. Like, she really did help me out of a tough situation, but I quickly realized that she did change a bit. And she...
Like from your time apart?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she did go through a lot. And she became more assertive, more strong-willed, which is great. Those are all good qualities to have. But the bad part of that was that she also became just easily agitated, very sensitive. So it got to a point where it's kind of like you're walking on eggshells around that person. So you saying something or joking around, you don't always know how she's going to take it.
Right.
When
You're just constantly on edge.
around.
Yeah.
And like I remember one time, this was around Halloween, I just started dating someone. So he and I didn't go out for Halloween. We decided just to stay in and chill. She and a bunch of my other friends went out. And at the time, I think she had been talking to a guy or chatting with a guy. The next morning, my boyfriend and I were out in the living room just kind of watching TV. And a few people were over. And I asked her just, hey, like, how was your night?
Right. Yep.
And she was like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, how was the party?
What do you mean? Like,
how was the night?
Yeah.
Oh, just weird that you would ask me that.
How your night was?
She was assuming because something had happened with the guy.
Oh,
but I didn't know
that you knew, and you were like trying to like fish for information.
Exactly, and embarrass her in front of people. And it's like, dude, you're like one of my best friends. Why is that your reaction to me? And that's one example of many times of her doing that. And you're constantly. And look, I'm not someone who is easily intimidated. I don't get intimidated by people. Like, if you're a mean person or if you don't like me, I don't care.
No,
like,
yeah,
I do what I want. I say what I want. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I was never intimidated by her. It was just stressful to be around her and have that as your friend when you can't just be at ease with them.
How was your night is such a basic question.
Right? Now, like I said, many examples of this happening, but what really, really took the cake with this friend was I went through a tremendous traumatic event. I had a tragic loss in my life. My mother passed away. And, when that happens, I'm getting all kinds of messages from people saying like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
And at this point, is she like your best friend?
She's one of my best friends,
okay.
Yes. Don't think I even heard from her. Like, I don't know if I just never heard from her or if she sent me just like a generic kind of message, but nothing, didn't call me, didn't.
Wow.
Nothing. And that's what really was like, okay, this is like done. I can't do this anymore.
Well, yeah, because how much, like, there would be nothing that would level that up.
No.
Like, that is the height
that
of
is
when you need support, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, like the friendship did end. And I think that's one thing that's important too. Like, in your 20s, I think you do believe that, your whole world is your friends, your group of friends, and you think your friendships are going to last forever. And sometimes they do. And I think that's great when they can. But there is a realization that I came to, certainly as an adult in my 30s, that no, sometimes friendships don't last. Sometimes they're just there to serve a moment in time in your life, much like a relationship. And if there's a friendship that doesn't serve you and doesn't serve your mental health, you have every right to cut that person out.
You do.
And that is something that I had to do.
And and going through that like traumatic experience, you were still able to see above the clouds. And I think part of the problem for a lot of people is when they do go through something so traumatic like that, whatever that may be, sometimes that could be a level of somebody passing away, which I think is the height of. But at the time, as we all know, we go through ebbs and flows in life. And there are things that at the time, like a breakup or, I mean, even like financial woes, that is like your everything. Like that's the causing you the most stress. But whether it's the latter of the two, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like those friendships should be there. And if you're able to see that person for what they are during those stressful times, then that is a huge red flag in my opinion.
Yeah,
being like,
that's it.
Hey, I can see above the clouds on this line.
And it was one of those things where throughout the friendship, I still cared about this person. Like I wanted to remain friends with this person. Maybe I couldn't have been as close with her. Maybe it would have been a friendship where, you go for coffee once a week and you catch up and stuff, but it just ended. So to that point, like, did it end because you had the conversation to end it, or was it just you stopped putting in the effort? So
in it?
here's kind of
without
a story.
kind of giving out too much,
Yeah,
personal...
but here's a story. I mean, yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's
so basically what had happened was we were living together for a period of time, and after I decided to move out on my own, she no longer talked to me. So we were still living together, and she was no longer talking to me. So she was probably
hurt that kind of
you were moving out? I guess maybe she felt that it was me. Maybe she felt, I don't know. And here's the thing too, like obviously I had a boyfriend at the time and other friends that, you know, you vent to about stuff, right? And I don't know if maybe someone told her things.
Things get said.
I never said anything mean about her. I just said, you know, it's a little stressful because sometimes she gets mad at me for things. I'm not sure why, or
well, yeah, it's on your mind,
so maybe,
right?
But anyway, so I was moving out while we were moving out of this apartment. Her parents were helping her move as well. Her mother just was rude to me, and I'm the kind of person that doesn't put up with that.
Right. You stand up for yourself.
Exactly. So I stood up for myself, and I said to my friend, what is the problem? What is the issue? What is going on? You know, why is your mother saying shit to me right now? And this friend wouldn't even look at me. Wouldn't even.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, whatever. And actually, it's kind of funny, but my boyfriend had to pull me up the stairs because I was just.
You were so upset because everything was probably coming to the surface. And
yeah. And so, we moved out. We each moved out. And that's the last time we spoke to each other.
And that was it.
That was it. And looking back on it, could I have done something differently? Yeah, I could have had a conversation with her eons ago. But the funny thing is, it's a pattern with this person. This person always seems to have a best friend, and something happens,
right?
and
then
they're no
that
longer
severs.
their friend.
Yeah.
And I supported this person through those types of friendships, and then all of a sudden I was on the other end of it.
Right.
And so,
and you probably won't be
so
the
maybe
last.
I couldn't have, like, I could have said something to her, and she might have just totally freaked out.
And I think that's part of a toxic relationship or friendship is, had you have said something like, hey, you know, I want to talk to you about this issue, it probably would have come up again.
Yeah.
Because the issues were that she had changed, or whether she perceives it as you had changed, or someone had changed in the relationship.
And look, here's the thing too. That's my side of the story.
Oh yeah.
I may have changed. I did change. I mean,
of course, you're
we're
growing
always
up,
changing.
you
So
know? Yeah.
maybe there was things that maybe the reason why she had reacted to certain things in a sensitive way was maybe, you know, sometimes I do get this a lot. Sometimes people say like I come across blunt, no filter, right? Like sometimes I just kind of say things, and if she's a sensitive person, maybe she had.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know.
And I think
it's just, it was a friendship that maybe
you guys just
not
grew apart.
right. Yeah, we just weren't right anymore.
People change, they grow up, and then that just kind of goes, you know, your separate ways. And I think that when you have a toxic anything in your life, and you need to recognize that, you know, like if it's a boyfriend that you've been dating for a while that you've grown apart, or, you know, you're in a comfortable situation where, you know, it does start getting more and more toxic. I think if you don't address that or move on from it, it's just going to continue on.
Yeah,
and it's just
a cycle.
It's just a cycle.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's good that you got out.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who's listening to this that is going through something similar, it does help to talk to a third party. And I mean, this is a device that you obviously know.
Yeah.
But it does help. There's a scene that I always talk to Joey about. It's my favorite scene, but it's in Sex and the City, and Carrie's in a affair with Mr. Big. For those of you who, you know, watch Sex and the City, where you at? And she looks at Miranda. They're at the bar.
Do they have a fan name? Where my sexy's at?
Oh, I don't think
Where
so. My Carrie's.
Oh, Sam.
But do you know what I mean? Like, she looks at Miranda and she's like, I can't see through the fog of the affair. You have to pull me out. Like, you are outside the fog. Like, please pull me out. And sometimes even in friendships, we need that. We need to, like, you know, if you're living with somebody and you're not jiving or something, it's helpful to have those friends to be like, I need you to be what you just said. People say that you're blunt sometimes or you have no filter. You need somebody like that to be like, look, this person's not treating you right, or you guys aren't working properly. So
yeah,
like, I think that that's all really important. That's something you would know in your 30s, probably not so much in your 20s.
When you're younger. I mean, when you're younger, I think when you have a friend mad at you, it's the end of the world, you know?
Oh my God.
In high school and stuff, when you're fighting with your friends, it's
oh yeah, like it's the end of the world, right? When that kind of stuff happens. And I think I met Matt when I was 16, and we had a great relationship. We were together like 7 years. Like, I wish nothing. He's happily married now with kids, and he's doing really well. But at the time, he was my world, right? He was my first serious boyfriend. So I was flying. He had lived in a different province, so I was flying to visit him. And my girlfriends, and this is in high school, one night got all together while I was gone. And that was it. They were mad that I had left or that I didn't go to the birthday party or whatever it was. And I was ditching them essentially for a boy. And thus began my departure from that friendship. And at the time, you couldn't console me because it was so devastating when I came home from that trip. But in retrospect, it's so minimal now.
Yeah.
You know, like I look back on it and I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like how funny was that? We were so young.
Yeah.
So I think you see things from different perspectives when you're pulled out of them.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
You know? So a little bit more about that story real quick is I had a really good, my best friend, my very, very best friend all through middle school into the beginning of high school. We were inseparable. We did everything together. My best memories are with this person. She was like my soul sister through and through. We went to a middle school, and then we were going to a different high school than the rest of our friends were going to. They had a better kind of academic program and sports program, so I was going to a school, and she was like, I can't live without you. Like, this is high school.
Yeah.
Like, I have to follow you. So she came with me to that high school. That was fine. Like I said, we were inseparable. High school changes everything. Schools are amalgamating. They're all kind of, you have a whole different group of kids coming together. We still remained really close, except for this one chick who shall rename nameless. And it's so funny because I'm like sitting here and I'm like, oh, you know, you move on and you get over it. No, I don't like this person. Okay. She is not welcome on this podcast. She became friends with my bestie. And we were kind of all friends, but I didn't really know this other one very, very well. So that, of course, when I had left for my trip to see my boyfriend, she moved right in. And that's all it takes in high school. She saw the opportunity. She's an opportunist. What can I say?
Yeah.
You know, she went for it. And I remember coming home and like I said, I was devastated because then that started it, right? That planted the seed. They were hanging out more. I had my boyfriend that I was still dating. Eventually I would move to his province to go to post-secondary school. I graduated 6 months early from everybody else to move provinces, right? So I did totally like remove myself from that group. Like I didn't really put in an effort because girls are really mean. People are mean.
Yeah.
But in high school, it's under a microscope.
Yeah.
And luckily for me in high school, I had a bunch of different friends. I was on the cheerleading team. I was all about the boys. So, of course, I met a lot of girls through cheerleading. And then, of course, we spent a lot of time with the hockey team because that's the dynamics. So I had that whole group of girlfriends to kind of lean on. But really that set the tone for high school. That happened in grade 10 or 11, and it was awful. So then I think in like retrospect now, looking back on that, you know, in your 30s, would I have fixed that? Or it seems so small. And at the time it seems so big. But then when you have time to move on from it, like now with that group of friends, they all still hang out with each other. I've moved on completely. And sometimes I do look at that group and I do feel bad for them because I feel like they're just stuck in their little bubble and they're probably very happy, but that's their world. And I just think like, could that have been me? Would I have been happy? And obviously at the time it would be nothing that I don't know any different. But no, if I look back on that situation, I'm just so happy that I'm removed from that. And that's when like everything happens for a reason. So if these toxic people leave your life and move on, then that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah. I guess is kind of like the comfort blanket that I use. Yeah. So I don't know if you feel the same way, you know, like if you could in your 30s, if you had the opportunity to change, would you?
Right. Change wise.
Like if you had the opportunity to change, you know, I guess be friends with them again.
Right.
Would you? But it's like, no, because you've probably moved on now and it's.
Well, I have moved on. Yeah, there are parts of that friendship that I miss. There's always good parts to it. And you always wonder what that person is doing now. Right. Right? Yeah. Maybe that particular friend, maybe not so much. I did have another friend she was my best friend. We did everything together. We had all the same interests. And it was really one of those friendships where there was like no drama. Like we never fought. We've never had an argument or a fight. We were both just easygoing, go with the flow. You know, we go for coffee, go for dinners, go to chapters, all kinds of stuff. But then I had started dating someone, and then all of a sudden this friend was distant, right? Like she hung out with.
Did she like that person that you were dating?
You gotta let me get to it, Brett.
Sorry. Oh my God, I'm just so eager.
Well, that's the thing. She was distant, and she had been newly starting to date someone. So I just thought, she's busy with her boyfriend. And my boyfriend at the time was long distance. So he would come up on weekends. So me and my friends, we'd always try to plan things when he was around, and she would always never be available. And that's no big deal. That's fine. And then one day I stayed the night at her place. The next morning, we're chatting, watching TV, having breakfast, and I'm getting ready to leave soon to go home. And she just says, I'm sure you've noticed that I've been distant lately. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, what's going on? Is something wrong? And she just said, I just don't really like who you're dating. I don't think he's right for you. I just don't see how you guys fit together. Kind of went on this.
But was she spending a lot of time with him?
No, and that's the thing. She met him a few times. She met him the first time, or the second time that she really met him was at a cottage that me and all my friends booked. And he had come last minute. So he was nervous meeting all of my friends, still just newly dating me. So he was trying to joke around with people.
Of course,
everyone else liked him, but for some reason she just wasn't clicking. But she never gave him much of a chance. And so after that discussion, I said to her, okay, well, can you do me a favor? Can you please try to get to know him more?
It's like when Joey has to hang out with Janice on Friends.
Oh, what is it? Janice and
Joey's day of fun.
Day of fun. Exactly. Listen, have a day of fun with us. And she said, yes. We'll do that.
Yeah.
I said, great, thank you. I get home and I get a call from my boyfriend and him saying, oh, I just got a message from your friend telling me she doesn't like me and all the reasons. And I'm like, what?
I don't like you. Number one,
right.
You are not a nice person.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Was it a jealousy thing, maybe?
Maybe.
Which is also something toxic.
Maybe it was a jealousy thing. I don't know. She always was a little I don't want to say judgmental, but didn't warm up to people easily. Maybe that was part of it. But you know what the kicker is that really pissed me off?
What?
And this is what
Give it to me, Joe.
This is what ended the friendship because after that there was still reconciliation that could have happened
for sure
moving forward. But what had happened was my ex, she had told me after me and my ex broke up that she never really liked him. Okay.
Sounds like she's hard to please.
After she and I had this situation, all of a sudden she's hanging out with my ex. And not only that, but one night I'm on Facebook and I see her post her and my ex's new boyfriend hanging out.
Ew.
And I'm like, okay, you couldn't give my boyfriend the benefit of the doubt, yet you're hanging out with my
so
ex's
it's a jealousy
boyfriend
thing, obviously.
who you don't even like.
God.
So I was like, that was it. I deleted her from everything. I was like, I can't.
Well, yeah, and you get to that point where you're just like, I don't.
That was because I saw what she posted. That was toxic to me. That made me feel upset, stressed, angry, betrayed. And I was like, this is it. I'm done.
Ugh,
and I just removed her. And we haven't really had a discussion since. A few months down the road, I think I had to return some books I had borrowed from her. And it was just, hi, how are you? Good. Here's your books. That's it. But she is the kind of friend that I wish I was still friends with because we had a really good friendship. And I'm sure that's something we could have worked through or gone past through.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It was just, I don't know. I felt betrayed, I guess.
Well, that sounds like it was a second offense, so it probably would have happened again.
Yeah, who knows?
Right?
I don't know.
That's the thing. And I think in any of these stories that we talked about today that we go through, I know if you're listening to this, you have something similar. I know you do because everyone goes through this. Nobody has perfect relationships. I think actually when we were talking about this, you were talking about a lot of yours came up from
post-secondary,
post-secondary, that whole era, post-secondary education and stuff, whereas mine didn't. I had a great post-secondary. Mine were all in high school.
Yeah.
And I think
for me, with my high school friends, I have a clique of friends that were my best friends, and to this day we're still so super close,
right? And I don't really,
we do group chats together, We do monthly or every couple months we do Zoom calls together. Whenever anyone's home, like, because we're all across the country now. If anyone's ever home, we always make plans to get together. Like, and nothing has changed. None of us have changed that much that we no longer serve each other as friends.
And I think and I'm the same with my university friends, right? So I'm the opposite. And it's so funny because when I turned 30, all my girlfriends who are in their mid 30s all had messaged me and been like, this is like the best years yet. These are the best years forward. Like, you thought the 20s were good. Like, you wait for your 30s. And I mean, at the time I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Yeah. But now even talking about this with you on this episode, it does make me super excited. There was another instance where my boyfriend at the time, I became very, very good friends with his best friend and his wife. So it was the foursome of us, right? Yep. And we were super close. She's my best friend ever. That doesn't live in this province. And we became very, very close. We call each other soul sisters now. And so they actually ended up getting a divorce. And between me and her husband, because we were very close. I don't know if you're following, right? So I don't want to say names.
Why don't you
here.
make up names?
It's so hard.
Okay.
Right. So you have a couple and me and my partner. So they get a divorce, but I'm still best friends with her and with him, really. Yeah. So
that's common, right? I mean,
oh my God,
when you're
it was
friends
tough.
with a couple and that couple splits up,
right? But it created a toxic environment, and guess who made it out? Me and his wife, me and my best friend. I can say her name, Ashley. She is the sweetest person ever. We became best friends, and we are still in each other's lives. And she is honestly my heart and soul. And I think those are the relationships that will see it through the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. So when they say the 30s are the best years yet, I think they mean, just like on the tip of the iceberg, is you're weeding out all of that stuff.
Well, and here's the thing
high school
too,
and in your 20s.
Like I said before, like when you're younger, your friendships are everything, and in your 30s they are too. But priorities change.
They do.
And you're putting up with bullshit changes. So if you are, I know for me personally, when I was in my 20s and younger, I remember like, boyfriends I was dating always saying, wow, you're such a social butterfly. You have all these groups of friends. Yeah. Now, I don't have large groups of friends because there's so much drama that came with it. I have a couple best or really good friends that I hang out with. Yeah. And I think that is where we see that change when you're growing up.
I think so too.
You want to prioritize the people that serve your mental health, make you feel good, you can have a good time with.
It's the people that are going to like stand with you when you get married, the people who are going to stand beside you if you get divorced, the people who are going to be there if you lose someone important to you, if you...
that person that's standing next to you in Ariana Grande concert in the front row VIP.
Because that is important to you.
Exactly.
Right? So if I'm getting married right now, which I am not, but if I was, that should be just as important as whatever's going on in your life. Yes. Right? And I think that is the main thing, is as you get older, those people that are with you through the ups and the downs and the Ariana. See, and this is the end of our friendship. But those people that are with you through everything are the ones that are like lifers for sure. Stage 5 clingers. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the difference between 30 so far. Yep. And in your 20s. I mean, a whole new issues could come up. I don't have a lot of friends right now that have babies. I have a lot of friends that are pregnant. So who knows? Once they have their kids, maybe I'll feel like I'll be your jealous friend. Yeah. Because I'll feel like I'm on the back burner now. Because my life, it's that like, oh, Brittany, you don't know because you're not a mom or you're not a parent. One of those. I don't know. But that's why you listen to this podcast, right? We're just bumbling through. There might be an episode, like episode 10, like toxic friendships in your 30s. I don't know. Stay tuned. But I think like when it comes down to it at the very end of, this episode, especially, friends are going to come and go. And it's up to you whether you feel like they serve your mental health and if you want to fix them. And if people around you, cough, cough, your mothers or your fathers who are judgy, right? Because that's the thing, right? You tell everybody about these relationships, whether it's a boyfriend or a friend, and then they're all on the inside track and judging you for like taking the person back. Yeah. Doesn't matter because they're not in the friendship. It's whatever serves you. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to cancel that out.
And I think too, finding ways of dealing through a friendship, because sometimes cutting out the person might not be the right answer. Maybe you need to have a conversation with them and say, look, I've noticed lately that you kind of put me down, or when I have something important to say to you, you don't really act in a way that shows that you care, right? You can have those conversations. Maybe you just need a breather. Maybe you just need to say, look, can I just have a week? Let's just take a breather. Maybe you had a really big fight. Take a breather. Figure out what's important to you. At the end of the week, come back and have a conversation. Sometimes it's not about ending it.
And if at that point they don't support you,
exactly,
then it's also probably time to cut them loose.
Yeah.
As I said in the previous podcast, block their ass.
Block their ass. That's right.
Oh, I love that.
You just brought it back full circle.
We did.
This was a bit of a heavier episode.
It was.
Do you want me to end on kind of a funny story,
give it to us.
Okay,
I
maybe.
thought you were talking to me off mic. I'm like, sure, go for it.
No, but maybe a little bit of Petty Joe.
Yeah. Oh, I love Petty Joe. You guys are in for a treat.
I was in a friendship where I would say I was maybe a little bit manipulated. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Are
you talking about me?
No.
Oh,
no. Honey, you would know if I was talking about you. No, this was. I had a group of friends. University group of friends. We were really, really close. And then one of them started dating a guy from another residence. That was fine. I love this guy. Great guy. We all kind of hung out with his group of friends for a bit. But then somewhere down the road, there was a shift where a few of us were no longer kind of invited to hang out. And I didn't give a rat's ass because I didn't think they were cool anyway. So I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But one of my friends that I was close to, she was starting to hang out with this group, and I was hearing less and less from her, basically. And we had decided that we were going to live together in the next year of university. So when you're looking for an apartment, when you're in university, you usually sign the lease the year ahead for the next year to make sure you have something in place. So we signed the lease, but then had a whole year before we were going to move into it.
A whole year of drums.
So during the summer, she was spending a lot of time with this group of friends. I was spending a lot of time with my group of friends, but I still thought things were fine between us. She came to me and had a conversation with me and said, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I can afford the apartment that we got together.
It's a risky little move.
I might have to opt out and find.
But you've already signed the lease.
Find a sublet or someone to take over the lease. And I was like, okay, that's not ideal for me because then I'm living with a stranger. No. But I said, I don't want you to feel like, you have to be forced into something. Because you guys didn't
have a lot of turmoil at this point, right?
Not really.
No.
So I'm trying to be nice, say that's okay. And I even tried to find someone myself to fill that spot. And she did find someone for the rest of the summer, it worked out great. But then he had left at the start of the school year. She still didn't have anyone that could cover the lease or whatever. And so at the time, my boyfriend was in a situation where he had to move out of his place. So I said, okay, why don't you move in with me? Cover the rent, whatever. We're going to do that. But then I found out that the reason why she chose not to live with me was because she wanted to live with this group of friends.
See,
So she lied to me.
Yeah.
Made me feel bad, because I was trying to help her find someone. I felt bad that she couldn't afford it. And so when I found that out,
then enter Petty Joe.
So when I found that out, I said, she's not getting away with that. Hell no.
You put on your cape?
Hell no. So I told her, look, we're down to the minute. September's coming. You're going to be stuck paying 2 rents. I said, my boyfriend can cover the lease, but because he has so many bills because he had a full-time job, he wasn't in school, I said, he can't cover the whole thing. So can you cover a percentage of his rent going forward?
Yep.
So fine. I made her sign the paperwork. She covered a certain amount of his rent. He paid his rent. I paid my rent.
He could pay the rent.
He could pay his rent. He was making tons of money. Full-time job. Are you kidding me? Oh no, honey. For those 12 months, she paid that rent.
And did it feel good?
It felt good. Look, that was petty. Maybe now in my 30s, is that how I'd handle it? Probably not. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
And we don't care about your feelings. I mean, we care about your flirties.
No.
We care about the flirties.
And you know what? Even if they happen to be listening to this episode, I don't give a rat's ass. You deserved it. You don't lie to me.
No,
You don't.
20
If you had came to me and said, "Look, you and I we've drifted a little bit,
Yep.
and I'm with this group of friends.
This isn't
I
my
would like
vibe."
to live with them.
Yes.
Can we make it work?
Talk about
yes,
it.
we can make it work.
Yes.
Like, don't.
It seems
lie
like
to
an
me.
ongoing theme in our 30s now. So now this is like the 3rd episode. Is like, just talk about it.
I know. Just talk about it.
Just talk about it. Just say what's,
Don't
don't
ghost.
Don't ghost. Don't. What else was it? Traveling. Like, just say what's on your mind. Like,
Hey,
just.
traveling. What does that have to do?
If you don't want to go somewhere, you don't have to.
Just talk to your
If
travel.
You don't want to
just
travel,
talk to your travel agent. They can't force you to go on that plane.
If you don't want to travel, you don't have to. Right? Like, just talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. So that's interesting.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
There's probably a song there.
Suck it to me. Suck it to me. Okay,
Okay.
no.
Well, anyways, we're
going
gonna move on from that. If you liked.
Are we wrapping it up?
If you
Okay.
like what you're hearing,
If you like what you're hearing,
feel free to follow us once again at 30 Kind of Flirty Podcast
on Instagram,
on the IG, on the gram. Do people
and
still call it the
30
gram?
Kind of Flirty on
Okay,
Twitter.
ignore me.
30 Kind of Flirty.
No.
Sorry.
Kind of Flirty at Kind of Flirty.
Just at Kind
you
of Flirty.
You can only have so many
Yes,
characters.
that's right.
I don't have a Twitter.
I don't have a Twitter.
So I didn't know
I
that.
can't twit for shit.
I didn't know when I was making it. I sat there for a long time and I was like, what Kind of Flirty? We are Kind of Flirty.
You know what? Twitter might not be the best spot to find us.
No.
But also,
but
if you have
tweet
any...
me, tweet me because I need to be tweeted.
Okay. And also, if you have any suggestions for topics, any stories you want to share, any feedback,
Yep, you can email us.
You can email us at 30kindoflirtypodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you're following us or if you're listening to us on Spotify, give us a follow. If you're listening to us through Apple Podcasts, feel free to give us a 5-star rating and give us a review because that does up us a bit into the iTunes world. Now, listen, if it's a negative review, we don't
We're
want
not
it.
interested.
No negative Nancy's,
No.
just positive Polly's.
Take your
Thank you.
negativity. Take your toxicity.
Take your toxicity.
And get out of here.
Yeah, click out.
No,
Okay.
just kidding. We do
We
care
love
about
you.
you.
We do love you.
And with that, we will see you again next week, every
Sounds
Thursday.
good. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.